Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.
It's the Monday after from BHBN Radio, the sports team who provide your matchday alternative coverage across the wards every Saturday afternoon on BHBN. And then a couple of days later, we get together to talk about how the weekend went for the teams across the West Midlands. It is a mixed bag at the moment. There's no doubt about it. I'm Ben Ellis. I'll be your chair through these next few minutes that we're talking together, and they're going to be joined by some members of our team on BHBN Sports. First of all, it is Kim Smith, who was at St Andrews on Saturday. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Ben. How you doing?
In a bit of a mood, but we'll get to it. Paddy Silk making his debut on the Monday after this week, part of the team. How you doing, Paddy? Just take yourself off mute.
Very well.
There you go.
Good to see everybody else.
Lovely, yes, and we'll get chatting in just a moment. And Jonathan Wimbush, fan of West Bromwich Albion, who was at Molineux live on BHBN on Saturday afternoon. How you doing, John?
Yeah, not too bad. There was an experience which we'll get onto in a bit.
Well, you can you can enlighten us shortly. We encourage you to click like and subscribe for our brand new YouTube channel and the other videos that we're posting, the highlights of the games that we've been covering over the weekend as well. We're going to start the Premier League, though, up in the northeast. And, it doesn't seem to get any better for Aston Villa. 1-1 draw at Sunderland. Still no wins from the first 5 games of the season, and as we're recording, it is Sunday evening, so we don't know what's happened by the time you're seeing this around Monday afternoon. But Paddy, I'm going to come to you first because you've been quite opinionated amongst ourselves about how you feel it's going for Aston Villa. When the manager shakes hands with his opposite number a good minute before the game ends and just walks down the tunnel, as Unai Emery did, that's not a good sign, is it?
No, it's not. But I'm just wondering, is that frustration, or is somebody going to assume that he's going to leave the club and he's had enough? But there's lots of ways you can look into that, can't you? But I can't call that, Ben, I must say. And I usually, have an opinion on it, but I just can't call that one because I've talked to a lot of lads today, and I said there's enough credit in the bank with Emery at the moment. It's probably early days, just a blip, but I don't know. I think Emery's got probably a lot of credit. I don't think it's nothing. I just think he's frustrated. Just one of them games.
I mean, the word that kept coming out of his post-match press conference was lazy. He thought a lot of Villa's play was lazy. A lot of the players were lazy. That there wasn't enough fight in them. Now, I'm looking through the Villa squad here. Jonathan Wimbush, we've talked for years about your team, West Brom, about how there were players that have been there too long that needed moving on. You look at the players that started for Aston Villa up at Sunderland: Martinez, Mings, Concert, Cash, Digne, McGinn, Watkins. That's 7 who have been there for the best part of 5 years. And maybe you do need to freshen it up. And what worries me in terms of Unai Emery and what we saw with his frustrations at the end of the game, they've got it in them, these players, to down tools. They did it with Steven Gerrard at the very end. That performance at Fulham. Is the Villa squad too stale? Have some of the players been there too long?
Well, they have been there quite a while. Obviously not as stale as how the Albion squad went, to be honest. But yeah, I'm looking. Martinez, World Cup winner. You would expect better from him. Tyrone Mings, yep, he's been there quite a while. But it's a relatively, like, by Midland team standards, it's a relatively newer squad. Of course, you've got the likes of Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho coming off the bench for now, but those are just loans, for this season alone. And, you've got like Morgan Rogers, Buendia, McGinn, the captain. And I just feel like they're just not putting in a shift, as the saying goes, game after game. And, Unai Emery, I'm with him on that. The fact that he's actually calling the squad lazy, as much as, a lot of people like to delve into these things, he might actually be right.
You might actually be right, but Kim Smith, he's the manager. It's up to him to motivate them, isn't it?
Well, yes, but of course, we know from past history when managers start moaning about the squad, it can mean that either they're not going to be around much longer because they're fed up and they're going to walk, or he is aware that the board are fed up and they're going to make him walk. But there's obviously something really not right at Villa at the moment. I mean, we were joking about it last week with, Aston Villa nil. And I mean, okay,
Well,
yes.
it's not that anymore, thankfully.
Well, no. I mean, Matty Cash scored a good goal, but then they couldn't keep the clean sheet.
It's about 5 minutes, and the defending for Sunderland's goal was pathetic, quite frankly. How there was no player around a 5-yard radius of Granit Xhaka to just let him nod the ball back over the defence for the equaliser to go in. Yeah, it's very frustrating. There's probably about I don't know how you calculate this kind of thing, but there's about a 10 to 20% dip in the intensity levels in the team as well. I mean, you look at this for the last 2 seasons, this dynamic forward-thinking team that were high pressing through the transition, getting the ball to the byline, cutting it back, creating chances for the likes of Ollie Watkins. That seems to have disappeared completely, and it will be up to them now. I mean, they've drawn 3 of the 5, so they've drawn more than they've lost. I'm lucky. This is Olympic standard straw clutching here. That's about all I can give you. But but it's home next, and it's going to be a full house, 40,000+ at Villa Park, who will be expecting a result and a performance next week. And if we're still sitting here next Sunday to record a show for Monday, and it's still the same, then Paddy, I think some of that credit will start to be dwindling from the bank.
You're right, Ben. I think, like you said, there's not going to be much left in the bank, is there? But if they lose or draw again, the Aston Villa fans, they're very, very, they're very. I'm going to say, how can I say this? I'm being very, very, very impartial, as I usually am. They won't have much. They won't have much patience for that team, for Emery or team. There's already Emery out shouts, isn't there now to get him out? But I don't know. I think Morgan Rogers, talking about lazy, Jonathan.
Big time.
Morgan Rogers, that he seems to have had his head turned, or something isn't right with Morgan Rogers. Yeah, and he's the linchpin in that team, isn't he?
Yeah. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. But we'll see where we are next. Of course, it's the Europa League on Thursday night against Bologna. They said it's an Emery specialty. Maybe Villa are going to do a Spurs this year and be useless in the league, but win the Europa League and get back into the Champions League that way. Would we settle for that this time next year? I wonder. It is the Monday after on Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio. We're here every Saturday afternoon across the wards on the radio, bringing you some wonderful coverage of West Midlands football. And here on a Monday afternoon, when you get to have a look at it, we talk about it. We'll talk about our live game that we brought you on Saturday very shortly. But first of all, here's an important message.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after here on Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, with me, Ben Ellis. I've got Paddy Silk, Jonathan Wimbush and Kim Smith with us today to talk about the weekend's action. And we talk about how badly it's going for Aston Villa. It's going even worse for Wolverhampton Wanderers. The match against Leeds was live across the wards on Saturday afternoon. And here's how it sounded.
As there's a ball through, it's a goal! It's a goal for Kriech! Talking about end-to-end, Wolverhampton Wanderers just goes right up to the stand, pulley stand, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are 1-0 up!
Bogle. Long crossing opportunity. He's going to find Calvert-Lewin. He does head it and he does go in. And there's Calvert-Lewin. And he does get that header. And he does get the goal for Leeds. out of nothing really. Now Dominic Calvert-Lewin smashed in the back, almost a receipt for the challenge on João Gomes, and a free kick in a really, really good area. Free kick taken. Wow!
Oh, it's in.
Wow, Anton Stack. My word, 2-1 Leeds. Fantastic free kick. But the ball here in midfield for Leeds, and he's going to go to Okafor on his left-hand side into the box. He's going for the shot, and he does go in for the goal, and it's 3-1 to Leeds. A breakaway goal caught in midfield by Anton Stack. He's having a great game so far. Won the ball back, powered forward towards Jose Sarr in his goal. Flicked it just to his left to Noah Okafor. Dispatched it into the bottom right corner. Slipped across the wet turf here and into the net for the third Leeds goal.
Yeah, this week we tried to work to correct some behaviors, to connect the players to be better today. We had conversations about to have a good start because, you know, in the last game we start well, but the second half we start defending in Newcastle. We had the conversations to improve, mentally to improve, and to win the game, and to create this spirit to win the game. After we scored the first goal, in my opinion, we stopped to press, to push them, to press the defenders. We start to not go far to press with our wingers. It means that we start to go back in the block, conceding spaces, and they score the first goal. It will be very easy for me to come here and to speak about mistakes, but I'm not this kind of manager. I prefer to speak about what I can improve on the team. We conceded the first goal after the free kick 2-1, and after the third goal. I don't want to speak about it. We know we need to improve this kind of situation, but it's something that I assume that I need to correct. I need to improve my team defending and playing.
So defeat for Wolves, 5 in a row. Jonathan Wimbush was there at Molineux on Saturday in a completely impartial way and not rubbing his hands with glee at anything that was going on in front of him on Saturday afternoon. Professional integrity. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. They started all right, didn't they? I mean, they got the first goal, and I think Krejci took it well, and the build-up was good, but that was as good as it got, really.
Yeah, I mean, when I got the team sheet before the game, the most notable surprise was that Fer Lopez was starting ahead of Strand Larsen. Of course, we discussed this last week with Connor Porter about the injury to Strand Larsen, but I kind of expected him to be in the starting lineup. He wasn't. He was on the bench. He was brought on at half time after they were already losing the game. But I believe that Fer Lopez, he just wasn't up to the standard of how a striker should be. Krejci did well to take his goal, and then they just seemed to stop playing. The lead lasted 20 minutes or so. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with his first goal for Leeds. Good goal, to be honest. Good header from a cross. And then the second goal, I could see that coming a mile away. The way Wolves had set up the wall, they had the de facto draft excluder, as the tactic is called now. But it didn't work. It didn't work, and unfortunately, they just dropped their heads before half time, and Okafor, scored it to make it 3-1 in acres of space. By the way, I don't know what the Wolverhampton players were doing. So of course, half time they brought on Strand Larsen to try and make something of it. And what I noticed with Strand Larsen, he's the number 9, he's the centre forward. Why is he collecting loose balls on the wing? And as soon as me and Rob Richards picked up on that, we were like, Wolves ain't going to get anything from this game today. And sure enough, there was dark clouds over Molineux. It had been raining all day in Wolverhampton. Dark clouds in the dressing room, I believe.
We are a media organisation and we do have to play by the rules. Is de facto draft excluder a brand name? Are other draft excluders available?
I don't know what they call that tactic, but it's when the player like.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
That's what they call it. I mean,
the de facto draft. Buy now, pay later. Interest-free credit. No pay for 6 months on your draft excluder. Interesting about that though. The way Jose Sarr set the wall up, and then he stood behind the wall. If you look at it from behind the kicker, he stands behind the wall. He leaves the open space. And on the face of it live, Paddy, it looked like a terrific free kick. I don't know if you've seen it, but it wasn't right in the corner. It wasn't. If we'd have had a decent starting position of covering the space that he'd created by the wall, he could have got to that easily, couldn't he?
I didn't see the game. I must apologise, Ben. I haven't seen the goals, but that would probably be for somebody else, I think. But
okay, Kim, did you see it? Did you get that feeling as well?
I've seen the highlights, and it looked very odd. I've got to say, and certainly on social media, lots of fans complaining about Sarr being in goal when they think there's better available. But yeah, I know what you mean. The whole draft excluder thing, when I saw the highlights, commentators were saying, well, what are they doing? And it just looked so peculiar. And yes, it was a good shot, but I'm sure there must have been a better way of setting them up to try and defend against that.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned the challenge by Krejci to give the free kick away either. It looked a really poor, a silly challenge, like a barge in the back, wasn't it? Where he was never going to get to the ball. And watching the highlights myself, my daughter looked at me funny, like thinking, "You don't support Wolves. What are you talking about?" And she was going, but I was kind of angry about the challenge. I said, "Wow, you silly boy! What are you doing?" And when you're at the bottom of the league, these are the things that you pay the price for. Leeds had only scored 1 goal, and that was a penalty in their first game of the season. This is the context that you've got to kind of put this in. And I mentioned on the show on Birmingham Sport on Saturday with Phil and Alan, is that if you look back at last season with the Wolves and Pereira comes in. And they were struggling, but he turns it around. They have a really good, strong finish to the season, but then they sell their best players in the summer and then start the season struggling. That happened 10 years ago. That was Aston Villa with Tim Sherwood. He came in the February of 2015, completely turned the club around, got a young Jack Grealish playing. They got to the FA Cup final, and then they sold Christian Benteke and Fabian Delph in the summer, and he never stood a prayer from there, Tim Sherwood, and was sacked by the October. And we all know how it ended. Villa ended up being in the Championship for 3 years. Now, if they sack or decide to make a decision on Vitor Pereira, they've just given him a 3-year contract that he signed. But at the same time, John, they've got form for that. Gary O'Neill had signed a contract not too long before he was sacked as well.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-year deal for Vitor Pereira, 5-year deal for Strand Larsen as well, which we haven't mentioned yet. But it's one of those where you don't see how Wolves can get themselves out of this. Even if the team start playing, they're gonna have results like this. Leeds, you could say at the start of the season, was a team that they needed to beat. Because of their own struggles with Leeds. But Yeah, I said in the commentary on Saturday that they've now joined an illustrious group of teams that have lost their first 5 Premier League games, and none of those survived relegation in their respective seasons. So I do fear for Wolves.
Yeah, are you going to the Everton game? Being the
I
closet Wolves
am.
fan, that you are.
I am going to the Carabao Cup game, and
yeah,
I'm returning home at the end of the week. But yeah,
yes, we'll get to that in a bit. But this list of fixtures, though, I mean, Carabao Cup against Everton, but then in the league, Tottenham away, Brighton at home, Sunderland away. We saw Sunderland this weekend. Burnley at home. All 3 promoted teams are making a good fist of it. Then they're away at Fulham and away at Chelsea, and at home to Crystal Palace before they play Villa by the end of November. That's Paddy. That's not looking good as a fixture list.
I'm worried. I worry for Wolves a little bit, and like you say, well, you've just pointed all about the players that lost and come back, and interesting about Tim Sherwood. That's really interesting. That is fascinating. But I don't know. I think there's a worry with Wolves, isn't there? That confidence, and when Matthias Cunha last year was fantastic, wasn't he? Especially when he scored against Man United. I think he got they annihilated us. I think that Boxing Day game. But I think I worry for Wolves and this manager. I do. There's 1 or 2 managers who are on that precipice now, aren't they, of being sacked, and with results don't get any better, because it is a results industry. I mean, you're right about them on long contracts, but it is a results industry, isn't it?
Oh, I'm of the firm belief you sign a long contract so you get paid when you get sacked. Quite frankly, I don't think it's feelings that, well, I'm staying for the next 3 years. No, I'm getting paid if you get rid of me. I think that's the cynical side of football, I'm afraid. The Monday after from Birmingham Sport BHBN Radio, we're going to be looking at the action from the weekend in the Championship when we come back.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after Birmingham Sport BHBN Radio on Saturday afternoon at St Andrews. We had the privilege of providing sight-impaired commentary on Birmingham City against Swansea in the Championship, and these were the best bits.
Swansea it's a goal for Swansea. The flag's up. The flag's up.
So Swansea fans are now extremely annoyed. They thought they'd got a goal and gone ahead, and the flag was up quite late, just getting to watch that again, and he was off. He was off.
It was tight.
Yeah.
Very tight.
Yeah, because it was the ball in from Inuso. Allsop got a touch to it, cleared away by Peck. But Vipotnik looking a bit fed up because he thought that was his goal.
Clara has the ball on the halfway line, launches it up on the right wing. Laird meets it, but actually Swansea City defenders done well to win the header, but it's fallen down. And Roberts puts it in, and Lyndon Dykes! He scores! He's there! Lyndon Dykes with a header into the back of the net! Sends St Andrews into jubilation! And it's a fantastic goal! The ball broke out to Roberts on the right wing.
Yeah.
He has actually, it's the best cross of the game. It's the first really decent delivery into the box. He swung it in, Lyndon Dykes rose above his defender and headed it in to make it Birmingham City 1, Swansea City 0.
Yeah, I thought we were the better team. We deserved to win the game. I think we've been close in a couple of narrow defeats recently, but there's a lot about our game I have liked, and I was really looking forward to today. I think we handled the game really well. Swansea, an established side at this level, good team in possession, and I thought we really limited them. We were very aggressive, and we created lots of moments and chances to win the match. From my point of view, I've been calm about where we are, because I just know what this league's like, and it's just a reminder that it's not going to be like last season where we win every game and 34 wins and 111 points. That's a world record, an EFL record for a reason. It's just very unusual. So we're going to have adverse games and months and weeks, and it's about staying calm and staying very fixed on what works well for us. And that was important this week, because we just went back to who we are, what we do, and what's worked so well for us. And I had no concerns, because I think even in the games that we have lost, we've been more than good enough from one box to the other. It's been the decisive moments in each, which is very encouraging. And you didn't see a team with any lack of belief or confidence today. They believed they could win this match, and they proved it.
So, Kim Smith, Lyndon Dykes pops up late in the day, and everything's all right with the world.
Well, it's certainly an improvement on the last two away games, and I think we've already talked about Blues need to be strong at home, and I suppose that was an example of keeping on going right till the final minute, because although Blues actually played a lot better on Saturday, it was still getting that final ball. And of course, Swansea are a team who were sort of set up in a really quite a similar way to Blues. So they were pushing Blues in the same way that Blues push other teams. But I think what made a difference for Blues yesterday was that the subs that Chris Davies brought on did actually improve the team, because sometimes you can bring subs on and it's just to sort of hold everything up until the end. But they did make a difference. Patrick Roberts looked very good when he came on. And of course, he combined with Lyndon Dykes for the goal. Good. Yet another example of Lyndon Dykes not scoring very often, but when he does, he manages to score at a really important moment.
I couldn't agree more as far as that assessment is concerned on Lyndon Dykes. Now, as I'm sure Jonathan Wimbush does when he goes to Wolves, when I watch Blues. When I watch Blues, I make notes, and I'm completely objective about what I've seen. And throughout the first half, I thought Swansea were the better side. Now the key incident was the disallowed goal for offside. It was one of those ones where you look at the freeze frame and you think, he looks onside to me. But if it was the Premier League and VAR, the lines might have come out and he might have been a shade off. So it's a 50-50 call. But it was a big moment in the game. The other thing I wrote down, Kim, and I was chatting with my dad about this as a big Blues fan. I said the exact words I used: I'm seeing nothing here to say Samuel's a better right back than Ethan Laird.
Yes. Although I suppose you've got the option now of having two strong players in that position. But when Ethan Laird came on, because of the additional, he's not quite as strong as Asai Samuel in terms of upper body strength. But Ethan Laird, because of his speed, he's got that ability to sort of rip balls away from defenders. And maybe doing it that way round for yesterday was a good way to wear Swansea's defence down. But no, I know what you mean. There's really not much between them at all. And I think it depends who's going to have a good day at the right time as to which one of them is better. But yes, I know what your dad means.
I said it. It wasn't my dad. It was. No, I said it. These are my professional opinions. And I thought Inusa gave him a really tough time in the first half. But as I say, that was the first half, and Swansea didn't take their chances, Paddy. And the longer it went on, the Blues were growing and growing, and you always felt that a goal was coming for Blues. It was going that way the second half, and the way they improved. And you got a good team, you got a strong squad, and with the likes of Lyndon Dykes, as we mentioned, there's always a chance that you're going to pop up and get an important goal.
Well, he did it last
Yeah.
season, didn't he, Lyndon Dykes? Sorry, Kim. Sorry. And I'm glad Kim was there because I'm going to ask her loads of questions next week when I see you next about how Blues did. Because when you watch on the TV, it's so much different from when you watch it.
100%.
But you like, as Kim said, I was interested about Patrick Roberts coming on and the substitutes making those changes and then getting that goal. That makes it all that bit of magic by Patrick and a great cross and a great goal by Lyndon Dykes. But again, I'll leave that to Kim now because I think Kim was there and give a better assessment than me.
Yeah, absolutely. Coventry City away Saturday lunchtime again. You going to that one? You often go to that one, Kim. Are you going to this one?
Yes,
You are going to this one.
and I'm going to be meeting up with some of our fellow broadcasters in the hospital radio system because the guys from Coventry,
Oh, lovely.
who are now doing live sports broadcasts again. So I'm going to be bumping into them as well.
Excellent. That's terrific. So, I mean, that's what 10 points from the first 6 games. I mean, yes, the home form is going to be key if they're going to keep that up. But you'd have settled for that for a start, though, Kim, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially considering we played 2 of the 3 relegated teams already. Because you could have looked at those 2 and thought, well, we won't get anything from that. But in the event we got a draw from Ipswich, and then beat one of our bogey teams away, because I mean we've suffered such miseries at Ewood Park in the past,
Yeah.
And we beat them for the first time in 12 years. So that's fine as far as I'm concerned. And as John Wimbush pointed out, at the moment there's 3 West Midlands teams sitting at 6th, 7th, and 8th in the Championship at the moment. Which is Coventry, West Brom, and Blues, all on 10 points. So I think Saturday lunchtime will be interesting because Coventry can score a lot of goals as we've seen, so it's going to be about frustrating them going forward, but being able to do something with our own attacking players at the same time.
I don't count Coventry.
Don't you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, it goes back to when they were in the Premier League. I mean, this is the thing. We show our age that there are people that probably couldn't imagine Coventry City being a Premier League team every single year, but they were for so long.
Yeah.
They were always in the top flight. And Coventry always regarded Villa as their big game. The team they always went after was Villa, where we couldn't give a monkeys about Coventry, quite frankly. But it was
Stoke City, isn't it?
It was always a big deal for Coventry. So yeah, they used to do like Football Focus on the day. They go, "Oh, it's the big West Midlands derby today between Coventry and Aston Villa." I'm like, "No, it's not." But no, hopefully.
Close though, Ben. It was close though, wasn't it? Coventry and Villa, they are Coventry and Aston. It's just close sort of thing. Still Midlands and Midlands derby. I don't know. Do you think that's? I would say Villa's a Midlands derby, innit, I suppose.
Just my attitude to it, Paddy. I'm not saying I was right.
Oh,
it's just how I felt. It's just how I felt about it for a long time. We are pushed for time. The weekend got off to a rip-roaring start in the northeast on Friday nights with Middlesbrough beating West Bromwich Albion by 2-1. And making notes on this one, Jonathan Wimbush. I think if you finish above Middlesbrough in the Championship this season, you'll get promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. And Middlesbrough was one of the worries for me when I was seen the fixture list. And sure enough, 16 points from a possible 18 puts Middlesbrough on top with breathing space as well. After Stoke, Bristol, and Leicester all drop points this weekend. But yeah. The first goal I've got an issue with because with David Strelic managing to get into acres of space when every West Bromwich Albion player was in the box, how do you allow that to happen? Yes, Luke Ayling, who's always been a thorn in the West Brom camp from his Leeds days when he always used to score against us. but his flick on and allowed Strelic to get essentially a tap in past Josh Griffiths. A good goal to make it 2-0 with Sene, little back heel from Hayden Hackney. He always plays well against the Albion as well, Hackney does. And then finally, Hegebo does get his first league goal for West Bromwich Albion. Good cross from Mikey Johnston. Middlesbrough just wasn't set after the throw, and Hegebo headed in. But as Ryan Mason, his reaction to West Brom's goal was just a shake of the head, because he felt the same as I think every West Brom fan felt at the time. It was just too little too late.
Too little, too late. But I saw a lot on social media that West Brom fans were criticising the team selection, John.
Yeah, and it was mainly to Diakite. He was giving away a lot of misplaced passes, and we might have thought Mikey Johnston was a better option there. Isaac Price was doing well. He did get a few shots away, but Solbrin, the Middlesbrough goalkeeper, was more than equal to it. Nat Phillips almost got himself a goal within like the first minute. And he just shot straight at Solbrin. There was acres of space on the other side of the goal. All he had to do was change the ball's direction, and it would have been 1-0. And who knows what would have happened after that. But yeah, we had Josh Madger on the bench, and he came on, but didn't affect the game. And yeah, it was just one of those frustrating things. I mean, Diakite he has good games, but he has poor games more often than not. And I think this was a poor game from Diakite.
I thought the crossing was abysmal from West Brom when they got into decent positions to put a good ball into the box. I think it was terrible. But Paddy, I'll come to you on this. I cannot for the life of me understand, and this is a general point I've made when I've been commentating with Jonathan Wimbush about football, not just West Brom, but why teams insist on doing this is having the opposite foot. In terms of the foot you kick with, you're on the opposite side of the field. I don't understand why a left footer has to play on the right and keep cutting in all the time, and vice versa with the right foot. If you're left footed, play on the left, get to the byline as quickly as you can, get the ball into the box. That reset of getting it onto your other foot to then try and shape yourself to get the ball into the box, it gives the opposition so much time to set themselves up to defend it, and it drives me absolutely bats.
You're right, because I'm old-fashioned, Ben. I went left footer, right footer. But I was two-footed when I played football. I perfected it.
Get you, Pat. You were two-footed, were you?
I was.
Do we have some footage? Can you prove this?
I practiced by a tennis ball against the local garages, and I perfected it. So threw me there. But I don't know, Ben. I think it's different these days, though, isn't it? I know you're frustrated with that, but I know I'll bring Kim in like this as well. I don't know what she thinks about it, but I don't know. I think it works, Ben. Though I think it works.
Well, I bringing this back to West Brom, I'd like to see them try Mikey Johnston on the right, because he's always on the left and he cuts inside. Now, where it works well. And from what I've seen of them, is if he does cut in off his right foot and then Callum Stiles, as the left back, goes on the overlap around him to create some more space, then they can fashion up. They didn't do enough of that on Friday night for me. And generally the delivery was poor. You'd have taken a point going up to Middlesbrough. There's no doubt about that. But it's another Friday night, John. Another Friday night at the Hawthorns this time. Leicester City, who've made... a solid enough start to life in the Championship after relegation.
Yeah, they have. And, as I said, they had dropped points this weekend, of course, beating Blues as well in the process. They're only a point ahead of, obviously, West Brom, Blues and Coventry as well. It's one of those where, it could go either way, but... Honestly, we have such a poor record against Leicester City, both in the Championship and the Premier League. I don't think we've beat them in at least 5 seasons that we've been in the same league. So they're often not so much a bogey team because, based on recent form, I mean, the 2016 season when they won the Premier League, we was in the Premier League as well, and they They just got 6 points out of 6 off us. So, Leicester City, it is going to be a tough ask, but we are at the Hawthorns. We are back home on a Friday. And hopefully it'll go our way.
Well, we'll have the highlights from that and a reaction to it in the Monday after next week from BHBN Radio. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Paddy, since you're with us, I'm going to let you finish off today. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to absolutely rant your socks off, even though they won, about Ruben. Right? No, Ruben Amorim in particular.
Okay. I want Ruben Amorim gone. That's just papered over the cracks that game, and it was the rain, and the keeper hadn't gone off, and Chelsea hadn't been good, hadn't sort of got their best players running, and they would have won that game. It would have been 1-1, wouldn't it, if he hadn't been the sending off? But I can't believe Amorim's still there. No way. That's a matter of time. Matter of time, that is.
Okay, because I saw something interesting after the Villa game, because Newcastle had drawn 0-0 with Bournemouth as well. Somebody put on social media that Newcastle have got 1 win in the last 8 in all competitions, and Aston Villa haven't won yet this season. But Amorim's the one who keeps getting the stick, and in general, Eddie Howe and Emery are getting away with it.
Just look, Ben. Just put it down to look.
Oh, okay. He's not going to change the system or anything like that. That people keep talking about.
Three at the back, right there, mate. Right there.
Yeah, You play 3 at the back because your defenders aren't very good, is the idea. Or you've got one great defender, but they can't run anymore, and so you need 2 to run for him.
Where are the great defenders? There's no great defenders in there.
Well, yeah.
Theatre of nightmares, Kim. I remember Kim saying that last season.
Couldn't happen to
Not
a
so much
club.
the theatre of dreams, it's the theatre of screams, isn't it?
Yeah. But by the way, did anybody check on the roof yesterday? I mean, that rain was lashing down. Did anybody check on the roof at Old Trafford? I didn't. I thought Sky would have had a roof camera in place just to check everything was all right.
There were 2 tourists still sitting at the bottom of the seats with all the water coming off them with their umbrella.
Lovely. Well, that brings us to the end of the Monday after from Birmingham Sport. We're back at 2:00 Saturday afternoon with more great coverage around the wards on BHBN Radio, and we'll react to it all next week as well. We urge you to click like and subscribe from our YouTube channel and the highlights packages that we're putting up on the YouTube channel and our website, bhbn.net. For Paddy Silk, Kim Smith, Jonathan Wimbush, I'm Ben Ellis. We'll see you next week.
Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis. This is BHBN Radio.